Hello, scrapbookers. It's Simone with week 6 of my Project Life 2018. This week, it was really hard picking my cards, and that is mostly due to the fact that I have sorted them really strange. So, in the past, yes, past, because I have since taken action and actually sorted my cards differently. In the past, I had my Feed Your Craft kits all in one box. I had all of my leftover Coco Daisy cards in one box. And then I had a stash of Project Life cards that were mostly comprised of older Studio Calico kits as well as um, really old in quotation marks, core kit cards. I had purged those cards before, so it wasn't like an overwhelming amount, but the fact that all of them were sorted in different or stashed in different places meant that I went through one set of cards, looked if something went with my theme. Then I went through the next stash. And then, if none of those cards worked well enough, or I didn't like them as much, and I thought there should be another better option, I went with the last batch of cards. And that was just not satisfying. So, what I did last week, I went through them all. I got over the fear of mixing my treasured Feed Your Craft cards with the rest of my cards, also my Coco Daisy cards. So now I don't have any cards that are not sorted into different categories, and in those different categories sorted by color. And you saw me in the background going through all of those cards, and you can see it takes a lot of time. I really love the process of doing Project Live, and I really love downsizing it to a 12 by 12 because I thought it would go much faster, but having those different kinds of stacks of cards made it so hard to decide on the cards. So I hope that next week I can share a quicker Project Life spread. And yeah, I haven't talked about the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kits. I have actually sorted them into the stash as well, even though they're quite new and I don't know how I'm going to progress from here on out. If I'm going to keep the most recent kit by itself or I'm not that sure about that, but probably what I will do, since I'm not on any of the design teams of those kit clubs or whatever you may call them, companies, it doesn't really matter if they are separate or not. I'm just really enjoy mixing products from different companies, so why shouldn't this be reflected in my stash? So there's no sense of sorting them by manufacturer or having them all in different stashes, when what I really love doing is combining cards from different manufacturers. So what you saw me do was going through all of my cards, picking out the cards that I think would work best. And now I am slowly working my way through my spread. I'm trimming down these photos. I actually trimmed them apart, and then I realized that I wanted to use those on a 4x6 photo. Oops. So I had to stick them back together, and then I trimmed them down a little so that they would look cohesive. I have found that for me, I really like having cards trimmed down, not cards, photos trimmed down so that a bit of the Project Live card is showing behind it. This sometimes makes a busy spread calm down a little more or make it look more cohesive. And now I'm looking through different kinds of embellishments, and again, I really need to work on that as well, and not go through tons and tons of different kinds of embellishments, but focus on one set of embellishment. Pick them before I start working on my spread, because it's just, it takes so much time. So what I do is, for my embellishments, I usually just put leftover embellishments and the things that come in current kits that I have left over, that I like, that speak to me, I put them into those iris cases, and then those are my embellishments for the next couple of weeks for Project Life. But now, since I'm on week 6 already, and I have embellishments from those chipboard stickers from the Stories by the Month kit, then I have leftovers from different cut apart sheets, the Feed Your Craft die cuts that come in the Feed Your Craft kits, or and then also leftover planner kit die cuts. All of those things are in there, and again, I need to pre-pick probably something so that the decision-making process isn't taking that long. Here I am stamping those little flowers. I didn't really, the card looked very plain to me, and I thought having the is it a daffodil? I think so. On the left side over there would look very plain and simple, and then I stamped with StazOn because I wasn't sure if VersaFine would work, but it didn't really stamp, and so I had to stamp over it, and I kind of messed up the card, but I decided I would just leave it there. It's not as noticeable and no one will look at it. So, okay, I pre-picked some die cuts. I started working on the title card, and now I'm going through my tiny alpha stickers and picking stickers, colors that I think work. And here with this set, I just picked the week, and then I think there was one E missing, or actually 2 E's missing, and so I just used my white Jelly Roll pen and added the strokes for the E underneath on the tile sticker. That is a really easy way to, well, manipulate your phrase stickers. I already also stripped this chipboard piece down a little and didn't make it as thick. And then this card is so wide and it's sticking out so much that I decided that I was going to just use my pen and outline the edges of the card. The card says yes, and it's actually from Saturday, so I'm going to get more or braver and switching up cards, looking for so that they look cohesive on the spread, so that it's not they're not in a timed order. They're not in order as the photographs were taken. Man, I can't talk today. But they are spread apart and placed so that I feel the layout looks cohesive. Here I wasn't really sure if I was going to make 2 embellishment clusters. I liked the delish. Do you say delish? Delish? I don't know. Delicious. It is delicious, so it's delish. That's probably how I would pronounce it. I wasn't sure if I was going to use that up top, but I wanted to journal about this, so I made another embellishment cluster, and then I just put the delish away. And there's probably going to be more places where I can add that tiny embellishment. Then this said adventure and something with spring break, but I really liked the yellow, and I decided I'm not going to wait for the perfect time for the perfect card. If this card is partially working in this spread, I'm going to use it and alter it so that it works. And this is what I did with this one. I just added, what did I add? I'm not even sure what this is. Oh yeah, it's a list. So I added the words list on top and just covered up Spring Break. And I decided I trimmed it down. You saw me do that before. And then I realized I actually don't really like the way it looks. But again, I didn't have another card or another photo, and I didn't want to reprint it. And so I was just rolling with it, and I added it, didn't add it centered so that I had enough room to add the circular, it's not a sticker, die cut. I added some phrase stickers, and then I called this card done, and then I completely messed up this card. So the Feed Your Craft cards are kind of glossy, and I wanted to, since this is such a dark teal, I wanted to write with a white Jelly Roll pen, but somehow the roll didn't really, it didn't work well. It didn't write at all, and so I decided instead of forcing it and messing up the whole card, I'm going to cover it up while I still can, and maybe write with a black Sharpie. And it's not as readable as it usually is on a white, well, sure, yes. Your black pen isn't as readable on a teal background as it is on a white. I mean, yeah. But I don't really care. If you really want to read it, you will definitely be able to. And now I'm thinking again, because I actually wanted to move this label up a bit further so that the camp would be attached to the label somehow, but it didn't work out. I just didn't think enough, and so I'm going to redo this with a little bit of washi so that the washi connects the label and the letter stickers. And if you've been watching and following me for a long time, you know that this is something that's really totally important for me. I like creating cohesiveness by touching, by attaching things to each other, making them look as if they belong together. That's probably a better way. So on this card I journaled because my son went to camp, or what is it called? The whole class went away for science camp. That's what it's called. And with my oldest son, he did that too. It was okay. We just kept on living our normal lives, and I love them all, but I didn't really miss him. I mean, it always feels weird when one of your children is not here. You even with 3 kids, you notice that something is off. But I wasn't expecting to be missing my middle one as much as I did. It just felt so strange that he wasn't here. And I wrote that down because that hit me by surprise. But he totally enjoyed himself. He had a lot of fun, and they did a lot of great things. So he didn't miss me, probably didn't miss me as much as I missed him, which is a really interesting experience when you're usually not someone to miss people a lot. I'm just not someone who's homesick or who misses someone when they're gone. I just keep on living and do my thing, and when they're back I'm really happy, but I'm not like missing them. And I have been talking about missing and missing and missing, and you didn't see me journal about, you saw me, but I didn't talk about it. I think it's quite self-explanatory. Here's a look at the whole spread. Thank you so much for watching. I put 2 more Project Life videos on screen for you to keep on watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I will see you next week with another Project Life process video. And I will tell you how my new system works.